There's nothing worse than spending countless hours creating content that you feel proud of, only to hit publish and see that only a handful of people read, listen, or view those creations you just made. If you have some sort of business that depends on growing an audience, whether it's a small business, a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, or something else entirely, then it really pays off to learn how to grow an audience for the type of business that you have. I've built a blog with more than 500,000 monthly readers. I had a podcast that reached about 500,000 downloads, and I have a YouTube channel with a few dozen videos and a couple 100,000 views. In this video, I want to walk you through the 8 ways that I've learned to grow an audience online. These are consistent channels that have worked really well for me over the course of more than a decade. They've stood the test of time, and some of them have honestly even gotten better. So let's dive in. Number 1 is guest blogging. This is when you reach out to a website, a publication, another blogger, another creator, let's say, who reaches a similar audience that you'd like to reach with your content. And this is when you pitch them on publishing a piece of content, perhaps joining an episode of their podcast, maybe making a video with them on their YouTube channel. You can get really creative with this, but the intention behind guest blogging or guest publishing, let's call it, is that you are reaching an audience that you yourself would like to draw from. So identify the people in your space who reach those that you would like to reach for your business, and find ways to come up with win-win topics that they're going to be interested in. Then once you publish that blog post, once you have that podcast episode live or a YouTube video on their channel, you're going to have the opportunity to get your advice, your expertise in front of that audience and draw some of that audience back to your own business. So let's walk through an example. I want to show you one of my guest blog posts that I wrote for the HubSpot blog a couple years ago. This was a blog post about how to email really busy people and stand out in an inbox. Now, as you can see throughout this guest post, I'm talking about Creative Live, which was a past job that I had. And throughout this guest blog post, there are links to Creative Live classes. And you can see that there's also a link to a post on my blog from the HubSpot blog. The benefits of guest blogging are threefold. Number 1, you have the opportunity to publish content on a reputable, authoritative website. Now that's going to be a really strong benefit in terms of SEO. So when you get links, whether they're links in your bio or tasteful links that you've woven into your blog post that you write for them, those are going to be really valuable for driving more traffic from organic Google searches. The more links that your site has from reputable, authoritative websites, the higher on average you will rank when you go for ranking content in organic Google search results. Number 2, you're going to have the opportunity to draw readers from that guest blogging destination. So having links on your site, or even just having name recognition, people will go and search for your name, they'll find your business. This is a great way to bring targeted readers to your site. And oftentimes what I see when I publish a guest post is I see an initial spike. So maybe a few dozen, maybe a few hundred, even a few thousand readers will come check out your blog depending upon the size of the publication or website that you're publishing on. Third, the last benefit of guest blogging is personal branding. When someone Google searches your name, they're going to see that you've been published on all of these websites that you've written guest blogs for. This is a great way to really boost your personal brand and show others that hey, you know what you're talking about in your space. Number 2, the second way to grow your audience is a bit of a longer term play, but it's incredibly valuable if you can invest the time and effort into it. This is targeting long tail keywords for SEO traffic. Now, I want to show you an example here to illustrate exactly why this is a great strategy. So as you can see here, I've run a Google search for the term, "Are keyword tools accurate?" And right here near the top in the featured snippet is a post on my blog. This is an article I wrote because I identified that people often search for this long tail keyword phrase when they're not too sure whether or not a keyword tool is actually accurate, whether it's reliable. And there's a bunch of related questions that inspired this topic for me. I myself chose this topic because I have a keyword tool that's free to use on my blog, and over inside WriteBlogger, our tool suite of more than 70 AI-powered tools for creators, we have another keyword research tool. And so this is a topic that benefits me and benefits my audience to share what my expertise, my knowledge is on. Now, looking at this search result, you may not know if this is actually going to drive much meaningful traffic, but I'll show you over inside my Google Analytics platform that this has driven somewhere around 1,100 readers since this post went live just over a week and a half ago or so. And that's a pretty meaningful amount of traffic. But really, the long play is what this is all about when you're targeting long tail keywords phrases and you're hoping to rank in Google organic search and drive that SEO traffic. Up next is creating video content for YouTube. Now, I'll make a distinction here between longer form videos on YouTube, let's say greater than 1 minute in length, and shorter form video that we'll talk about later. And what I like to think of as great content on YouTube is something that teaches your audience something. If you're able to communicate a skill or an ability from your experiences that you have and help other people somehow through video as a medium, then that gives you a really cool new channel to reach a lot of people. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, right behind Google. And so the ability to publish content on topics that you are an authority on are going to really help you, especially over the long term. And what I like most about YouTube is that over time, your videos should consistently get more and more traffic, especially if you're producing them well and you know what you're talking about. They look good, they sound good. And so let's talk a little bit about the videos here on my channel. So as you can see, I've published 77 videos. I have a little over 4,000 subscribers. Not a huge channel, but to me, I'm already starting to see some results from this channel. As you can see, some of my videos have over 1,000 views, some over 5,000, 4,000 from a live stream I did recently. Now, the real benefit of YouTube is that, yes, you can attract an audience. You can eventually monetize a YouTube channel. But what you're really doing by creating longer form video content is you're creating opportunities to really connect and engage and build real relationships with your audience. People who really resonate with your style of speaking or teaching, whatever you're doing on YouTube, are going to want to come back for more. And those are the people that are going to be most primed to also, at some point in time, do something with your business, whether it's a customer, a partnership, or something else entirely. YouTube opens up a lot of opportunities for you. Number 4 is leaning into short form video content. This is going to be platforms like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels. There's more, but these are the ones that I focus my time on. Now, I want to show you an example of some TikTok videos. Over here, we have the Right Blogger TikTok account. We don't have a ton of followers, 52 followers right now, but we've had over 3,000 likes on our videos. And we've recently started publishing some higher quality looking content. And what works really well on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts is when you teach a really specific skill or you show something, a process, in a way that can be communicated in less than a minute. Short form video content is a great way to capture attention for people that are just scrolling, and you have the ability to, again, inject yourself, your expertise, your knowledge into their feeds. Now, don't expect most people to watch a TikTok video and then go buy your online course or subscribe to your YouTube channel, right? This is going to be a longer term play. Creating short form video content is a bit of a numbers game. So the more you do it, the repetition, the reps that you put in is going to really benefit you over the long term. Next up, build an email newsletter list. If you have some sort of business that requires a website, then capturing the email addresses of people who could be potential customers for you is a smart move to do from day one. No matter your type of business, in my opinion, this is a really worthwhile investment. Whether you have a blog, a YouTube channel, or some sort of small business, this is a really, really smart thing to do. Even if you don't yet know what kinds of emails you're going to send to people, you could send them weekly updates, monthly updates. It's not really a big deal in the early days. You can just create content that you'd feel is going to deliver value to them, whether that's in the form of blog posts, YouTube videos, podcast episodes. It's great to have content for a newsletter, but you don't necessarily have to. If you have a physical product-based business and people want to sign up for your newsletter to unlock discounts, for example, that's okay too. But offering that opportunity to get people on an email newsletter list puts you inside their inbox whenever you want to be there with some sort of value to deliver. Over here on my blog, you can see I have a newsletter sign up page, and this is where you can sign up to get updates. I'll typically use my newsletter to send a weekly email that is value driven. This usually comes in the form of new blog posts, new videos, new podcast episodes, and my intention here is to really provide value consistently over long periods of time. I've been sending emails to my list for over a decade now, and that builds real trust. People that have been on my newsletter for a long time know that I consistently deliver value for them. And like all things, people will come and go from your newsletter, but as some people leave, other people join. It's more about catching people at the right time and having the option for them to sign up for your emails. I highly recommend offering a lead magnet to people to sign up. So rather than just saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter, Giving them some sort of free downloadable, a free tool, something that they'll be able to take and get some real value from is a really great incentive to give people in order to join your email list. Next up is answering questions on discussion forums like Quora and Reddit. As you may have noticed recently, Google started really favoring results on search engine result pages for Quora and Reddit, especially when people ask questions of search engines. Because oftentimes these platforms, Quora and Reddit, they offer people real opportunities to answer in a more objective sense. And the discussions you often see on these platforms are going to be much more real, more authentic, and less sort of muddied by business than what a lot of other Google search results will be. Here's an example of an answer that I left on Quora. Someone was asking about, I started a blog, how can I increase my blog traffic? And this answer is about 6 years old, but I gave my advice based on what my experience was at the time when I had about 2 million readers coming to my blog. And I left a really in-depth answer that I thought was really value-driven, and the community really resonated with it. I linked out to a couple different blog posts within this answer, tastefully done, where people can go and learn more about a particular topic or strategy that I was speaking to. I showed a screenshot to share some social proof so that people could see the monthly traffic that I was getting at the time. And then I offered some real genuine value. As you can see, this answer is pretty long. It was over 1,000 words, but the real benefit of participating in these kinds of discussion forums is that you have the chance to build real, genuine relationships with people. And when this kind of content ranks really high in organic search results, I have the opportunity to rank high for how to grow a blog with an answer that I wrote on Quora 6 years ago. So there's a long tail effect to these answers too that can really pay off for you. Just be careful whenever you're answering questions on these discussion platforms that you be respectful of the space that you're in. Don't just show up and start promoting yourself nonstop. You really want to deliver value to people. And once you've delivered value, sometimes there will be an opportunity to tastefully link to or mention your product, your service, what your offering is. But again, keep it really respectful of the place and always put yourselves in the shoes of a reader. If you read your post and you feel like it's a little promotional, chances are a lot of other people who read it are going to say, whoa, this is way too self-promotional. I feel like this answer is going to be biased. So be careful, but this is a great way to grow an audience over time. People can also subscribe to you on these platforms. People can also subscribe to you on these discussion platforms. And Quora even has the opportunity to monetize your answers once you've answered enough questions and you build up a bit of a reputation. So there's a lot of benefits to these platforms. Another great way to really grow your audience is by getting interviewed on podcasts in your niche. You could start your own show, but that's kind of a lot of effort when there's already probably dozens, maybe hundreds, possibly thousands of different shows already operating in the industry that you're in. Pitch yourself as a guest on those shows. If you have something interesting to say, some experience, a story that's going to really capture the attention of people and, more importantly, of podcast hosts, then send them an email. Pitch yourself to be a guest, and chances are a lot of people are going to say yes if you have an interesting story. Podcast hosts need content all the time. They need great stories to tell. So it's a win-win-win for everyone. You get to highlight yourself in front of the audience of all these listeners. The podcast host gets great content for their show, and listeners get a great piece of content to listen to and learn from. Here's an example of a podcast that I was on not too long ago. This is for a marketing agency, and I was talking about how to create a revenue-generating blog. As you can see, not only did I get featured on their podcast where listeners could tune in and hear my hour-long interview, I also was able to score links from this podcast. Most podcast hosts also have some form of website, and so when they publish your episode, they'll publish a blog post that goes along with your episode as well. This creates the opportunity to get some text-based links, which again, fuel that SEO cycle. So the more text-based links that you have from authoritative websites, the better your website will rank in organic search over time on average. And as you can see here, I scored a few really good links from this podcast episode. And one tip I'll offer you is that once your podcast episode goes live and they publish a blog post, if you don't see any links in that episode, just reach out to the host and ask. I've done this all the time. Most podcast hosts are wearing a lot of different hats, and so they're staying really busy. They're managing a really long list of tasks and different duties. So Don't take it personally if you don't get a link from a podcast you were on. Just reach out and ask. Chances are they'll entertain it. And finally, being active in social communities where your audience spends time is a great way to grow an audience over the long term. Maybe your audience is present on Facebook, maybe it's not. Consider other platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, the list goes on. But over here, the example I wanted to show you is the Facebook group for passive income pathways. It's operated by my friend Sadie Smiley, and she has over 21,000 members of this group. People post multiple times a day throughout this group, and Sadie often drives discussion. She delivers real value to people in the form of content that she creates and freebies that she offers. She does live trainings. There's a lot of activity going on in this group, and she's really present answering questions for people. Not only does Sadie answer questions, but over time, as you create a group or you're active within social communities, people will gravitate towards you. You'll find collaborators, you'll find partners, you'll find some customers in there too. But really what this is all about is just fostering engagement and really building trust in other people. So whether you create a group yourself or you're just active in other Facebook groups, this is a great way to really stay engaged and deliver value. These are my favorite ways of growing an audience online today. Now, there are naturally a lot more. There are as many ways to grow an audience as there are people spending time online. So put on your creative hat, really think about, so ultimately the best thing you can do is put yourselves in the shoes of your readers, your listeners, your viewers, and imagine where they spend time. Better yet, ask them where they spend time. And if you're in your own target market, that's even better because you'll know where people like that spend their time online. And if you can be present on those platforms and deliver real meaningful value over time, you'll be positioning yourself to build a really sustainable long-term business. So this has been my short list of how to grow an audience online today. I'm Ryan Robinson. I talk a lot about how to build an audience, how to grow a blog, and monetize with your audience. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. And if you liked this one, I think you're gonna like this video too.